In 2017, she took on the role of Pro-New Business Genetic Accelerator to develop the Wisdom Panel's genetic offering for breeders as an opportunity to showcase breeder expertise and design Proactive, a program to help ensure breeders thrive in a sustainable and responsible way together to achieve our common mission, the health and well-being of dogs and cats all over the world.
Clearly, don't buy brachycephalic. Explaining the reason why, because it's not dog in good health, it's problem of animal welfare, etc. And faced to that, there are the institutions, the breed clubs, the national canine clubs, FCI, etc. And they are aware of the situation. They try to change the situation. They try to go in the right way for animal welfare. And this Congress, the Welfare Committee, are perfect example of that. But the question, a little bit provocative, is, are they equipped enough to push the limits in the good way? Are they equipped enough to influence a new regulation? How can we help them to have more influence and more ability to influence the coming regulation? Because actually, new pet owners are very sensitive to all the question of environment and well-being. The new generation is what we call digital native. When they pick up a puppy at a breeder, they want to live an experience. They want to take picture, they want to put this picture on Instagram, to collect a lot of likes, etc. They want to go quick. Do you know that some of them only spend 20 minutes online to buy a puppy? Is it a way to promote good breeding practice, or is it a way to promote responsible breeding? I don't think so. So what is the risk of all that? The risk is to have a declining image of breeding. Because of some action of NGO and activists, we can sometimes see on social media very negative bad buzz around breeding, and social media really loves to have to take an example of bad breeding practice and to make it a generality. The risk is to see in the future more and more new constraining regulation, and to see an increase of this new trend in ethics, which is adopt, don't shop, opposing breeders to shelter, whereas there is not the point actually. And the risk is that you, as good breeders, can suffer of this situation. But this picture is maybe a dark picture, but let's see that not as a fatality, but as an opportunity. It's the way we decided to consider this context in Royal Canin and to build on that to make shine again the breeding world. We decided to be what we call proactive. Proactive to raise the bar in breeding. Proactive to define a new gold standard in breeding beyond the Royal Canin Company to promote the breeding activity. Proactive was launched in Royal Canin a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I think so. And it's really a philosophy. It's a movement. It's an initiative inside the breeding world because it's our vision of the future of breeding. What we aim to do is to make breeding a looked upon activity, acknowledge for the patient the expertise and knowledge required to practice. And for that, we built a program to help ensure breeders grow in a sustainable way, giving them tools and services to help them to reach our common mission, the health and well-being of cats and dogs.
Cats and dogs have lived as domesticated animals for thousands of years. Their place in society has greatly evolved and is now well established. While pets were previously primarily owned for the tasks they perform, they are now mainly valued for their companionship. The psychological and social benefits they bring to society are widely acknowledged. Today, it is self-evident that pets make our lives better. And because of this, they deserve a decent and fulfilling place in this world, as well as respect for their rights and basic care to ensure their health and well-being. This has always been at the heart of Royal Canin's mission. And this is why, as a company, our purpose is to make a better world for pets. We do this through nutrition by developing tailor-made diets adapted to the specific needs of every cat and dog. But we also do this beyond our nutritional offer. For this reason, today we have built an ambitious program rooted in strong values and ethics. Proactive, an initiative designed to make a better world for pets by supporting cat and dog professionals to help them run their daily activities sustainably and soundly. Being proactive is a choice that transforms your everyday experience for the better and guides you in building a responsible, sustainable activity. Being proactive is choosing quality, higher quality activities, a better quality of life for your animals, and a high quality relationship with pet owners. Being proactive is strengthening your commitment to the well-being of cats and dogs through high quality, tailored nutrition and careful monitoring of your animal's health, as well as continuing the invaluable prevention and fight against obesity. Being proactive is being uncompromising in the care provided for your animals, the management of your daily activity, and your compliance with hygiene regulations. It is minimizing the impact of your activity on the planet. It is also enriching your animal's environment, offering them the best conditions in which to become socialized and providing them with the affection they so greatly need. Being proactive means offering your expert advice to help future owners choose an animal and ensure they are fully aware of their responsibilities. Being proactive is helping make this world a better place for all by fostering a more harmonious relationship between human beings and animals. Being proactive is growing to become the best professional you can be.
So I hope that you have been inspired by this speech of 𝐒𝐲𝐞𝐿, which is our previous CEO in Royal Canin and which is now the president of Pet Care in Mars. So Proactive is really a full program to help breeders to be recognized as pet health experts and guardians. And this program relies on 3 chapters. The first one is around skill and knowledge. That's why we try to give you more skill, more knowledge, partnering with in congresses, with publication, scientific publication on 𝐂𝐸𝐞𝐫, and also developing e-learning. There is several modules existing on dog e-learning program. We talk about this morning also about responsible pet ownership. We try to give you the tools to encourage the responsible pet ownership, thanks to an existing guide, and also the Welcome Puppy Kit, gathering all information and stuff that a new pet owner can need to better welcome a puppy at home. And last but not least, and this is a link with genetic, there is a chapter dedicated to facility management, I mean your daily activity. So we have, of course, nutrition with a dedicated nutritional offer for breeders, and practical guides to give you advice on how you can better manage your breeding activity. And we developed also services, WildStart, which is a software for breeding activity, and recently DNA testing, 𝐒𝐸𝐞𝐷NA. And this will be the rest of my presentation to talk about what is 𝐒𝐸𝐞𝐷NA and how 𝐒𝐸𝐞𝐷NA make Proactive alive.
Delve into their past to reveal their future. Now we can look back to discover their heritage and unleash their potential. A visionary technology. This changes the breeding world, revealing the true power of genes. This is genetic testing. DNA sequencing is a profound game changer. It's the blueprint for what makes him him. Genetics is a key for a healthy start of life. Health is our obsession. That's why we should all start genetics. How? With Wisdom Panel. Our new DNA offer serves our mission and makes Proactive alive. Wisdom Panel helps resolve breeders' pain points with a healthier selection for a responsible breeding in an affordable way. It highlights the importance of selection to pet owners. It makes breeders' scientific expertise visible.
So My Dog DNA is our new genetic offer made by breed experts for you breeders. It's more than a classic genetic test. It's a genomic chip that can largely and exhaustively screen the dog DNA. But before to deep dive more in the product itself, let's talk about the canine genome, because it's a place where details make all the difference. So this is a dog. It's not a surprise. And a dog is composed of muscle, and under the muscle, there are the organs. Organs are made by cells, and cells contain nucleus, which contain chromosomes made of DNA. What you can see of a dog, the visible traits of the dog, are the phenotype. And the genetic data set of the dog is the genotype, and both are linked together. So DNA is for desoxyribonucleic acid. A dog contains 78 chromosomes. Each chromosome is made by 2 helixes of DNA, and each helix of DNA is composed of a building block of 4 nucleotides, A, T, G, C, which are linked together to form base pair. And in average, there are 2.5 billion of base pair in dogs. If we look closer to a chromosome, we can identify some region at certain location of the chromosome, which are the gene. And a gene encodes for a function, encodes for a protein which will determine a function. We can buy around a little bit less than 20,000 genes in dogs, and which is important for us in breeding selection is that a gene is a basic of inheritance. I mean, it's going to be transmitted by the parents, one by the mother, one by the father, to the puppies. So let's take an example with the tyrosinase-related protein 1, which is a gene coding for coat color. You can have 2 different copies of the genes, 2 different alleles of these genes, a black one and a brown one. And these 2 alleles differ only by 1 nucleotide. This variation of 1 nucleotide is called single nucleotide polymorphism, or SNP. So if your dog has the black allele, it will produce the black eumelanin pigment, and it will be black. And on the other side, if the dog has the brown allele, 2 brown alleles, to be honest, it will produce eumelanin brown pigments, and the fur will be brown. So in summarize, SNP, so single nucleotide polymorphism, I mean a change in the DNA code of 1 nucleotide, can trigger differences in appearance regarding coat color, body size, coat length, or difference in disease development. So some dogs will develop disease or not, or sometimes just nothing. And why I'm talking about SNP today and why it's important for My Dog DNA, because My Dog DNA, our genetic testing, it's exactly what it's going to be to detect the SNP in the dog genome. And thanks to that, you have a cartography of all the allele of your dog, all the copy of your dog for each relevant gene, let's say. And why it's important? Because actually, it's the basis for breeding selection. When you are doing selection, if you want to do a healthier selection, you must know what is the DNA profile of the father, what is the DNA profile of the mother, to better anticipate and even conditionate, let's say, what will be the offsprings. So selective breeding involves choosing parents with particular characteristics to breed together and produce puppies with more desirable characteristics. This is what you want to do in your breeding today for the future, to have healthier puppy in your breeding. So to summarize, �MyDoc-DNA is what we call an all-inclusive solution. Why? Because with one salivary sample, with only one analysis, you get all the results that you need for your dog to manage your breeding selection program. What does it mean concretely? You have the identification, the DNA profile of your dog, so you can make a parentage if needed. You have all the results for the relevant disease for your breed, and also to have a positive selection on color or coat, you have all the relevant morphological traits for your breed. You have also two information on genetic diversity. The first one is what is the genetic diversity of your dog inside your breed, and what is the genetic diversity of your breed among all the dog breeds. And last but not least, you have breeding advice to make this result actionable. We talked about this morning during the visit with Dr. Luis Perro, because actually you can get all the results we want. If you don't know how to use it, it's useless. What we try to do with genetic is to make it as simple as possible in terms of user experience. So how you can get �MyDoc-DNA? First, you connect on your WebSub account and you order a kit, and you receive a box containing an envelope and swab for salivary sample. You have a questionnaire to fulfill and to be signed by the vet, and you have a written envelope for the lab. After you make the sample with the vet and you put the swab into the written envelope, you send it to the lab, they make the analysis, and 2 or 3 weeks after that, you get the results on your web account. Quite simple, actually. And talking about results, I would like to give you an example of what it looks like. So you receive first the DNA profile identification and parentage of your dog. And on the second page, you have the health condition known in this breed. You have the results for the gene, for the disease, and you have the gene, the risk variant, the mode of inheritance, which is more explained here. Is it autosomal recessive? It is dominant? It is linked to the sex? And you have the explanation of what does it mean. You have the number of copies of the risk variant and what we call the health result. Is it clear? No copy of the risk variant. Is it carrier? 1 copy of the risk variant. Or is it at risk? So with 2 copies of the risk variant. In addition, you have a disease explanation. What is it? What does it mean? What are the clinical signs? You have a breeding advice for your selection program. So this is determined according to the health results. If you have a dog carrier, for instance, you can not match him with a dog at risk, etc. This is declined according to the health results. Highlighting that, I would like to give you an important key takeaway regarding genetic tests. Because when we talk about genetic risk tests, we are not talking about diagnostic tests. It's important to have it in mind because we only talk about a risk, not something that will appear for sure. And this is important because in breeding selection, genetic diversity must be really considered. So when you have a dog with many desirable features, even if this dog is with a genotype at risk, so with 2 copies of the risk variant, it can still be considered for reproduction. You just may pay attention to the dog you will match him with. I mean, if it's at risk, you choose a clear dog for the same disease to make the match. But a dog at risk doesn't mean you have to remove it for life for reproduction. As a conclusion, I hope that you see that genetic testing is really a tool for the future of the breeding world. Because to face to the new context where animal welfare, some specific brachycephalic breeds are negatively pointed, it's really a tool to show off the breeder expertise, to demonstrate that you made conscientiously your breeding selection program, that what you are doing is not by chance, but it's on purpose. So it's really something to change the eyes of the people on you, on breeders, on breeding selection, and to make the breeding world shine again. What do we want to achieve with MyDogDNA and with Proactive in general is really to make you breeders seen as health guardians, to make your activity sustainable and responsible, and to encourage the responsible pet ownership. Because when a pet owner chooses responsible breeding, breeders is the first step to have a responsible attitude toward his pets. Our ambition as a company is really to make this proactive initiative as a reference in the pro world, as a gold standard in breeding. And I will finish my presentation by the sentence of Oscar Wilde: shoot for the moon, even if you miss, you will land among the stars. So let's dream big. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elodie. Are there any questions for Dr. Elodie?
Hi. I have Old English sheepdogs. We're seeing smaller and smaller litters, and we're being told that it's coming from foods that have legumes and peas with them. And what can you tell us about this?
Could you just repeat loudly, please? I heard nothing.
Okay. As a breeder, I am hearing, well, I have smaller and smaller litters. And I've had like 4 singletons when I should be having 10. What I'm being told is more and more of the food is having legumes and peas, and that those are being put in to bring down the fertility of our bitches. What can you expand on that?
So reproduction is a very large topic, and reproduction, litters, number of puppies per litters, it's a big question in breeding, and it's a very large topic. It's complicated to identify only one single source of the diminution of number of puppies in litters. Most of the time, we try to find what can be the problem, but it's a multifactorial thing. So sometimes it's coming from genetic selection, sometimes it's coming from food, sometimes it's coming from something else. To be honest with you, I don't have a clear answer to your question.
Can I mention that there will be some more expansion on the topic of nutrition tomorrow, so maybe that question is more relevant for tomorrow about food.
Yes, it's not really a question, but I want to tell you why I'm happy because of this presentation, because in the morning, if you remember, I mentioned this is not a hobby, this is a profession, and we have to show it for the world, because we are using the result of the most updated, most recent research scientific research. One thing which I also like in your presentation, you never said, first test your dog's genetic, because you will be surprised how many young breeders in your country uses these tests now. I had a webinar, I participated in a webinar in Hungary, and I was pleasantly surprised. Young girls and boys, I don't even knew them, they used the system. But the problem is, and that's your duty and my duty, first, it's very easy to read the result. It's printed, black and white. It's easy to read it, but type and pedigree is very difficult to read it. And the result could be good only if a breeder can read both of that. But thank you for this presentation, because that's the future, the presence and the future.
Thanks for the explanation. Not another question?
Yes, my question was that due to these genomic tests are not a diagnostic test, do you suggest to keep making pedigree analysis to complement the genomic test?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. That was short and sweet. Thank you, Elodie.
Absolutely.
I want to thank the FCI board members for giving Mexico the opportunity of having this important World Congress for Welfare and Health for the dogs worldwide. We are really pleased, and thank you so much for giving us this great opportunity. And also I want to thank all the speakers from all over the world who participate in this great event. Thank you.